Lynn Kitchen is an investment strategist and financial advocate with over 34 years in finance. She was one of the first women stockbrokers who opened her own broker dealership on the West Coast. She went on to build and sell 2 investment advisory firms, plus she taught investment courses to thousands of adults over 4 decades. Now Lynn consults with investors and companies, guiding them to avoid costly mistakes, accelerate their wealth, and build lasting legacies that align with their values.
You're listening to Wealthy Advisor Mindset Podcast, a show dedicated to helping financial advisors grow their AUM while enjoying a great quality of life by creating a high-performance mindset. Guiding you on this podcast is none other than Nina Cook, a seasoned mindset coach who has worked with hundreds of business owners over the last decade to dissolve all their self-sabotaging behaviors and habits to achieve their business goals so they can have a much bigger impact and make much more money. Throughout the show, we'll deliver actionable strategies to grow your practice more easily and quickly, while revealing the incredible possibilities that emerge when you tap into your best self. Ready for a breakthrough that amplifies your impact and profits? Let's dive in.
What a wonderful thing you're doing. And what we want to do in our chat now is to talk about how your mindset has helped you to create all the success that you want. How it's helped you, but also how it's hindered you and how you got past those obstacles. I'd love you to share the highlights of that journey with us and your mindset and what you learned along the way that helped you to become even more successful.
Hi, Nina. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. And I just have a quick question for all of your audience. Would you love it if you had a string of clients, high-paying clients, high-net worth clients that were lined up to work with you, maybe lined up around the block and just waiting for you to be the one that will help them through all of their difficulties, move them into a place of wealth and health, and then they credit you for changing their life? Would you love that? And I think that you would, right?
Absolutely, everyone would.
I'm sure you would. If you're in a place where you can put yes, yes, yes in the chat, please do that. I absolutely love being in this financial arena. This business, the financial business, has been my life. It's been my partner. It's been my relationship. I think I've been married to it. You know, you become married to something, a passion that you love to give back, that you love to be a part of, to watch somebody else's aha moments, correct? How many of you feel like that is the moment that you live for? Those times when people really say, oh, because of you, I could pay off my debts. Because of you, I could put my kids through school. Because of you, how many of you would just feel like that's what you live for? But it hasn't always been that way. So, Nina, thank you for your introduction. It's a journey. It truly is a journey. And you mentioned that. And I do remember, I would be delighted if it's okay, Nina. Would it be okay if I tell you a little story about how I got into this business to begin with? Would that be okay?
Please do.
Okay. I had been selling everything that I could to put myself through college. I came out from a background that did not have money, and I didn't know people with money. And when I was in college, I was so broke. One day I found myself in Los Angeles. Everybody knows probably where Disneyland is, in Orange County. I was on the corner of Disneyland as the cars are exiting, right at that exit. And I was so broke that I was selling little 25-cent pieces, little tin
Brooches.
Little brooches that you would put on your lapel to say, today I had fun. And I would sell them for 25 cents as people were coming out of Disneyland, just enough to get enough money so that I could buy myself a breakfast or a lunch. I remember being so broke that I thought to myself, they told me that life is supposed to be good. This does not feel good. Have you ever felt so broke that you felt like the whole world had just caved in on you, and actually everything that you had believed in up till now, you thought, okay, they're telling me a lie? Have you ever felt that way? You're so broke. I decided that in that moment, money was my biggest problem. And so what I didn't have was the one thing that I wanted the most. It was a part of my mind so much that I realized that I was thinking about it negatively. So I thought, well, how can I change that thought and begin to love money? And I'll always remember in that moment, I'm just a college kid. I said to myself, if I can find a way to have a positive relationship with me and money, then I will be able to learn how to respect it, how to really, once I ever do get some money, hopefully will learn how to get some money, then I will know how to manage money, how to be a good steward of money, and then I'll be able to teach others how to do the same. And that was the impetus for me to just jump into the money business. I had no understanding of what a stock was, what a bond was. At the time, no one was hiring women. This was back in the early 1970s. So I just started knocking on doors in Los Angeles, all up and down Wilshire Boulevard, to brokerage firms, stock brokerage firms who would say, no, 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 we are not hiring women to be a stockbroker. We don't hire women to be stockbrokers. First, you could become a secretary to a stockbroker for about 10 years. First, get your credentials, get your feet wet, get trusted. And I said, no, no, no. I believe I can sell. I believe I can speak to others about money and how to maximize their wealth. And somebody finally said, okay, let's give this girl a chance. I was knocking on so many doors that someone gave me a chance, opened the door for me. And so I was one of the first women back in that era, in the early 70s, to become a stockbroker. And that was the beginning of a long history, almost 40 years in this business, in which I have prospered, grown, and of course, helped others to do the same. But I've always thought about the image and the idea of what if I had people lined up around the block just waiting for me to help them, because maybe they are feeling the same way that I felt, that the whole world is against them, that they don't understand this big world of finance. How can they possibly get from A to B? How can they really create what we call wealth? And so that was the beginning, and it still is true today.
Amazing. A wonderful, wonderful story. And your persistence, when you got the first few no's, that didn't put you off. You just carried on knocking on the doors. And this is what it is, isn't it? It takes persistence. It takes a goal, a dream. And your dream was to make sure that you always had enough money. You're going to help other people in similar situations to make sure they had enough money. Your dream was so powerful that you took the action. You were prepared to do whatever it took to make that your reality. So you're using your imagination to visualize your goal, the end result of your goal. So all of these things are very, very powerful components of having your desires and making sure you live your dream life. So you talked about relationship with money. So you wanted a different relationship with money from
Right.
the you'd had previously. Can you just talk a little bit about how your relationship with money changed, how your thinking about money changed?
Yeah. I think education changes everyone and everything. So once I got into the business, of course, as you all know, you learn about the laws that structure the financial industry. You don't really learn how to sell. You don't really learn how to help someone go from A to Z or A to B with their portfolio. all of these things are something that you have to learn by means of experience. It's not really taught. So what I really did was strategically began to learn industry group by industry group, company by company, so that I could understand what is the underpinning, how does the price action of these companies equate to wealth building. The concept of really understanding and getting educated was a self-taught endeavor. The companies that I worked for, the major brokerage companies, the last they wanted to do is spend money. Once you're licensed, that's it. You're on your own. You're smiling and dialing, trying to be a salesman. But that piece of education was the first shift in my understanding. I'll tell you a little story. I decided I was going to sit at the knee of the top salesman nationwide. And in the firm, I sought that person out. He happened to live in this Podunk Dunk place, way in the country up in Wisconsin. And in the middle of winter on my break, when we didn't get very many breaks, as you know, I traveled to Wisconsin to interview him and sit by his side for a few days to find out what he does. I wanted to educate myself. I wanted to be in his presence. I want to see how he handled his clients. And he allowed me to sit near his desk and listen to him speak to his highest net worth clients. Some of these people were multimillionaires. It's the first time I heard a real conversation between an investment professional and somebody who had that kind of wealth. So I put myself into a place where I could learn and observe and be a part of conversation building. And that led to learning more about education, learning more about the markets, how they work, which is what I love to teach now, giving back that part of which I think that people don't understand a lot about how the markets work so that you can have confidence in what it is that you're investing in. Now, I know everybody in your audience is an educator. You educate people not only in the markets, but what is best for your client. You're actually helping to open their minds to what's best for them. Most clients don't even understand what is best for them, what's risk, what's not risk. So I think that to answer your question, Nina, education, and not only for ourselves, to help others open their understanding to how this thing called finance works and how this thing called building wealth works emotionally and how we can all be successful.
Your story about going to visit that top salesman because you were determined to learn and you wanted to be really good at selling and really good at all aspects of your work. So rather than waiting passively for something to happen, you took a decision to go and find the best salesman. What did you learn from him? What were your biggest lessons from him?
How casual he was. How confident he was. He was speaking to mostly farmers who had high net worth, and of course they were speaking to each other about commodity contracts, corn, wheat. I felt it was a whole different language from my focus, which was stocks and bonds and helping people with their initial portfolios. But he said to me, keep it simple. Just find out what people really need. He said, that's what I do all day long. I find out what people really need and what their dreams and hopes are. And he said, if you can connect with that, then you're going to be fine. So what I did, and of course, this was back when I was a stockbroker, I learned quickly that what people wanted did not align with what I was told that I had to sell by management. So I did a second wild and strange thing. I decided to go independent and go on my own. This is after only 4 years with the major brokerage firms, Dean Witter, Reynolds, Oppenheimer, and something. After only 4 years, I said, no, no, no. I'm going to serve the clients in the way that they are telling me that they want to be served. And I can best do that when I'm independent and not selling the things coming down from the top that I'm forced to sell because it has more profit for the firm. And that was the beginning of my values that I still hold dear today, that help inform my mindset and what it is that I'm here to do. I can serve others best. I was one of the first women, as you mentioned, on the west coast of United States to open my own broker dealership at a time, the early 1980s, when there were, I think, 2 other women-owned broker dealerships in the state of California. You can imagine back then there was a lot of pushback on what I was accomplishing. Once again, it was done for the purpose of helping others to the best of my ability without handcuffs.
Yeah, I mean, what a big leap of faith you made to start your own business in a very male-dominated world.
It was, but I wasn't the first. I certainly was not the last, but it was the beginning of an opportunity for me to hire other women, be stockbrokers in my firm, and to help educate them, which was a big value of mine. As it turned out, I built that firm and sold it, and then entered into a partnership with 2 other wonderful gentlemen, and together we built a second investment advisory firm. And one of the concepts there was that we wanted the smartest clients in the world in our firm.
Nice.
We don't necessarily want to work with the wealthiest. We want to work with the smartest.
Nice.
And so we opened an investment nonprofit education arm called the Pacific School of Finance. And at night, I taught courses for 15 years. So imagine building the firm, investment advisory firm during the day. This is for over 15 years I did this. And at night, teaching investment courses to clients and other adults that we hoped would become clients, and having a ball. And just absolutely, this was before computers, by the way, guys and gals. This is before computers. And obviously, now people have at their fingertips so much educational resources. You have at your fingertips, right? So many educational resources. The computerization has changed everything, the technology, our reach, and how many more people that we can touch and help build wealth over time. It's the best of times now.
I agree. We have so many resources at our fingertips. Wow. Education, education, education is one of your highest values. I love that. So your entrepreneurial mindset is a different mindset to the corporate mindset. What do you believe are the key components of the entrepreneurial mindset to generate as much success as anyone would want to have?
What a great question, Nina. I'm going to turn that around for your listeners. What do you think is your superpower? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a self-starter? Are you someone who gets up in the morning and says, how many people can I help today? I feel that that is the core of someone who really is here to expand. If you have that as your core belief, you can't help but grow. I don't really care if it's a department that you're working inside of a corporation. You can create the kind of mindset that that department is the best entrepreneurial department in the whole. It doesn't matter. You're always an entrepreneur. We stand in the center of our universe, and everything that happens around us really is a result of the ripple effect that we have from the inside out. So I believe that we're always living from the inside out. Is that an entrepreneurial idea? Heck yes. It doesn't matter the structure around us. We are all always entrepreneurs. We're making this up as we go. We're making it up. We're making it happen. We're making it fun. We're making it real. We're making it wealthy. Because why? For the sake of what? You answer that question. What is it for you? For the
Well,
sake of what?
it is just to transform and help and share what we do well with our clients to make their lives better.
Yes.
And it's also for us to have a life that we love,
Oh,
a life for
everyone needs
ourselves,
to
our
work with Nina.
families, to have a lifestyle that makes us very happy and contented and fulfilled.
So, did you hear that? Everyone, when Nina says that, doesn't it just light you up? To have a life that you love. And, to work with you, Nina, must be a privilege, because when you can really get to the tungsten of the inner light bulb of your life, what lights you up? And I know that that is your specialty, Nina, to help really light and spark that on a daily basis and help brighten you so that you can carry more energy, so you can carry more light, so you can really brighten the world of investors right where they are, one person at a time, to make a difference in their lives. And that's, I know, what you do so well, Nina. So it's really a pleasure for me to speak with people like you who help other investment professionals, because we don't have many places that, as investment professionals, I know it can feel lonely, right? It can feel like I have so much on my plate and so many people depending on me. And it can feel like there's a weight on one's shoulders. And to have the responsibility of managing other people's monies as if the buck stops here, that can be lonely. And so I really commend what you're doing, Nina, to help investment professionals to see that they're not alone. With just a few tweaks, we can lock elbows and really understand what it is that we're accomplishing here. Why are we doing what it is that we're doing? What's the bigger picture? And I think that that's your strength.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, Lynn, my final question, and this is a question I ask all my guests. What's the biggest lesson that life has taught you so far?
Wow. I think I would have to. That is really a beautiful question. It's a hierarching question. So let me move up a few octaves to see if I can find that answer. The biggest lesson is to stick with who I am. Just be me. Bring my best to this day. Bring my best, all the light that I can carry, bring it into my conversations, bring it into my tasks, bring it into my money management, bring it into my relationship building, bring it into ways that I can help uplift others, be who I am, be the best that I can be the best that I am today, and then the best I can be tomorrow, and the best I can be the next day. And to enjoy that along the way is what I believe I've learned the most.
What a wonderful learning to share with us. Thank you so much for that. I really, really love that. Thank you so much for being on my show today. I've really, really enjoyed our conversation, and
Me too.
I've learnt a lot. I've made quite a lot of notes here. Thank you so much. For everyone who's been listening, thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed the episode today on the Wealthy Advisor Mindset. Make sure to hit subscribe on your chosen platform to get notifications on upcoming episodes. If this episode made you think of someone who you think would benefit from listening to it, then go ahead, take a screenshot, and share this episode with them, or post it on your social media to share with your friends and colleagues. You can catch the show notes for this episode and any mentioned links in the description. If you are a financial advisor who is struggling to grow your AUM and profits while creating a great work-life balance, and you know it's because your mindset is stopping you, or you have a specific challenge in mind that you would love Nina's feedback on, go to chatswithnina.org and grab a time that works best for you. We'd love to